This is actually an energetic gateway opening up. Before we start these episodes, each time we do sit and meditate and open up an energetic portal. So when you're listening to each episode, you are actually getting frequencies.
That's right. Transmissions, frequencies. There's a lot that is said, and there's a lot that is said energetically that's beaming to you right now.
Literally, in the quantum field, doesn't matter when you're listening, you are getting these frequencies.
Yeah, something's embedded here for you if you're watching.
Welcome to Spread Your Third Eye podcast. I am your host, Mia Wrights, and we are here to take you beyond the veils into other dimensions with our resident guest, Georgia Jean.
Hello, everybody. So wonderful, as always, to be here and go on this journey with you and you and you and you and you and them and all of us.
Georgia Jean is a higher dimensional channeler. She's bringing new information to the world to help shift humanity and bring us into fifth dimension. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you already know about the fifth dimension, considering we might not be a frequency or energetic match if you are not at that point.
You might even know about it and be like, well, this is kind of BS. You might have some resistance about it. Actually, some people might just be like, I don't know those words, but I feel something happening and I don't have words for it until now. So welcome one, welcome all to the portal.
Yes, this is actually an energetic gateway opening up. Before we start these episodes, each time we do sit and meditate and open up an energetic portal. So when you're listening to each episode, you are actually getting frequencies.
That's right. Transmissions, frequencies. There's a lot that is said, and there's a lot that is said energetically that's beaming to you right now.
Literally, in the quantum field, doesn't matter when you're listening, you are getting these frequencies.
Yeah, something's embedded here for you if you're watching. So, and if you're a super duper cosmic superstar, you'll make it all the way to the end of the podcast. Maybe not always on the first listen, but I encourage you to come back if you start listening to this and you're intrigued, but you get distracted. Sometimes the egoic mind is resisting some of the stuff that we're sharing or teaching that's coming through. You might need to step back, process a bit, and then come back again, because it's sort of like the way the mind opens up. It's in these little like open, receive, open.
Yeah.
So
it's layered.
It's layered. It's definitely layered. So come back or check in on one of the other podcasts too. You know, each one has different codes and different frequencies in it for different people at different points in their journey. And it's really fun to just bop around and, you know, see what was transmitted when.
And guys, don't forget to show us some love, subscribe, share with your spiritual bestie.
That's right. Buy my friend Mia a coffee
If
here.
you love it, buy me a coffee.
If you get a juicy nugget out of this episode, buy me a coffee.
Okay, I'm really excited for this episode.
Yeah.
This is going to be really intriguing because we're going to talk with the circle about sexuality. A lot of things are changing, as we know.
Yeah. And it's a hot topic, meaning there's a lot of energy in the subject of sexuality.
Yeah.
So it's hot. It's a hot topic.
It's hot, baby. No judgment here. We're going to talk about all the things. I can't wait for the circle. I don't know what they're going to say.
And we don't know, because sometimes we just sort of tune in and go, what do the circle want to talk about?
Yeah.
Someone had asked about this as well.
Yeah, some of my
Instagram.
friends. I'm noticing some of my friends. I'm noticing more and more people are like really open. Maybe it's just my age, but like the older some of these women get, they're really open to being like, you know, I wouldn't mind having a relationship with like 3 people, like, you know, a woman and a man and us 3 live together.
Lots of different versions.
I'm like, there's so much fluidity right now on so many levels. That it's like, okay, this is a new paradigm in our reality. Is it right? Is it wrong?
Who knows?
You know, who knows?
We have our Venus Scorpio. Both of us have Venus and Scorpio, which tends us to make us more just singular person focused.
Yeah, I'm obsessive with one person. And I want him obsessed with me.
Yeah, that's right.
Or else I'm really offended.
Yeah. It's very Scorpio. We definitely share that sort of stuff. And like, as Baba Boom as like me is so beautiful and hot and gorgeous.
Oh
You're not out for everybody's attention.
no.
You just want that one person
But
to
I
be,
I
but
am.
you explore your sensuality a
Listen,
lot.
I have a very intriguing like interest because I am Scorpio vibe, so I'm really jealous, like
Yes, yeah.
hell no, don't, but at the same time, I kind of get a little jealous that I'm not like that.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I've been like that too. Wow, it'd be so much easier to
Yeah,
be
just like,
like
oh, how was that, babe?
more
Did you have so
flexitarian.
much fun railing that chick the other day?
But then, because I'm always like, wouldn't that be great? And then, but part of me feels like
I'm
I'm lacking
just,
passion then for that one person.
yeah.
If I'm like,
I
call
know,
that
but I
there, as
see
you
both
say.
sides. I
I see both sides
respect
too.
it.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
totally.
part of me wants to be like that, but the other part of me is like, no way, I could never. So I don't know. It's just
Who
very,
knows? Who knows? And who knows where that piece of programming comes in? Like we
yeah.
sort of say, like with that Venus Scorpio, it's definitely like it's very one tracky.
Yeah.
And even other personality test stuff that I've explored as well. There's certain programming that just makes you feel more passion and attraction for one person because it's also about emotional safety. So some people,
Yeah.
there's a thing in hypnotherapy that you learn about. Great book, which will save a lot of relationships. Is this book called E and P Attraction? And I got into my hands when I was learning some hypnotherapy stuff, and it actually connects to how you induce people into a hypnotic state, how people receive information, and how they'll take hypnotic induction. But it's also super connected to people's sexuality as
Yeah.
well.
It's a
And
lot
sort
of
of,
programs there in our
yeah,
sexuality.
yeah,
Look, my
totally.
dog is a boy, and I have another boy dog. They could
Yeah.
give if it's a boy or a girl. They
Oh,
just,
they're just
like animals
full
are like,
animals,
hey,
like
if you're
going for
available,
it.
you're available, boy or
Yeah,
girl,
yeah, yeah,
So we have these,
totally.
who knows? It
Who
goes
knows?
deep.
Who knows? Who knows?
So should we just
Let's just
bring
bring
this?
in the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring in the circle on this one. All right, here we go. Ah, yes, indeed, dear ones. We are here and we are most delighted to make connection with you here on another magnificent day in your earth plane. It's always a great delight to come forward. And how can we be of assistance to you on this very primally important topic for the human collective?
Well, I think that a lot of people are really uncomfortable with things that are changing sexually. There's more unification in genders, i.e., like men becoming women, and gays are very normal now versus decades ago, and now people and relationships are starting to have. I guess it's bigamy, but like multiple. Yes.
Polyamory, yes,
Yes.
yes,
And so we
yes.
want to talk about this in our society, why it's changing. Has it always been this way? People really felt this way, but we knew that programs we were not allowed to. Also, are humans meant to be one on one, or are we really just naturally meant to explore many different individuals? And then maybe we should also talk about sex and the exchange of energy, and if that is okay to have sex with multiple partners, or what's the consequence of that?
Indeed. So many things here.
Apparently, I was wondering a lot about this without
Wondering a
knowing
lot
it.
about this. And you're probably also picking up on a lot of calling from the collective. So, where is sexuality going? Where is this particular biological function? Of course, creative function, of course, and not just creative in the sense of babies being born into creation, but creation that happens when you do have a unification of energies coming together. Uh, the seat of physical creation, when we talk about how do you bring things into manifestation, well, you are plugged in by the root chakra into the energetic grid framework that is currently supporting your creative experience. And the pelvic area, the sacral chakra, is really the seat of physical creation, meaning this is where things sort of come into physicalization from, whether it is a house, a child, a book, The pelvis is that arena, or the sacral chakra is the arena that projects that into physicality.
Just real quick, not just we'll stay on the subject, but does my pelvis bring into my house as a physical? Because you're saying that the pelvis brings in the physical,
Brings in the
including my
physical.
house.
Your house, everything that's physical.
Anything
It's sort
I
of like the
see, is
cooking
it?
pot. It's sort of, so think about all of your chakras. They all produce a different aspect of reality,
Okay.
of the
Oh, wow.
reality as you experience
Okay.
it. All right.
So my pelvis quite literally is producing the reality of
Is
my
the
home.
physicality of
Oh,
physicality
okay,
in
a
general,
physical
and
skeleton.
bringing things into birth, into, so
Yeah.
you kind of cook a baby in there,
Yeah.
and you really cook your life in there. It's where that earth consciousness meets the creative consciousness, and physicalize it vibrationally. So we talk about manifesting through the heart as a way to put out the general architectural map of your reality. Your general architectural map is going to be what is physical, what is emotional, what is mental, what is energetic. It's all of the different aspects that create your physical life. But the part of the projector system that produces the physicality is that combination between the root and the sacral chakra. That is what is generally manifesting the level of density that you experience as physicality.
Wow.
Yes. So sexuality as a union force between man and woman, or however you're bringing babies together.
Yeah.
Is also happening through, that's why the sex organs are all seated in that part of the body as well.
Okay.
All right. So sexuality, it is part of your creative experience. And yes, there's a lot that has put limitation on how you have felt is the right, quote unquote, and the wrong, quote unquote, way to explore creativity in general, we would say, dear ones, in general. So, first of all, instead of giving you, oh, this is the right way and this is the wrong way, again, we always like to bring it back to why there might be some confusion about it right now, because your systems of creation are actually changing right now as well. When we talk about the chakra system, when you come into incarnation, this is the system that is helping to generate that holographic experience. So when you have a 3D system, which is a singular egoic identity, linear time space, your holographic system, the lenses through which you're creating reality, produce a 3D reality. All right. What's actually happening as part of this evolutionary process is your chakra systems are also getting upgraded at this time. So you're actually moving from a 3D creative lens system to a 5D. And at different times, you're experiencing upgrades in your chakra system, as well as mental, emotional, biological, all of this sort of stuff. So a lot of the confusion around it all is connected again to your general confusion about what is going on. You're not operating at a time where you had a specific creative system that more or less functioned similarly for everybody and everybody during the time period of that incarnation, and before and after. You are, again, we say you are the shift crew. You are the ones who are coming in with adaptive systems. And whenever there's different adaptations, there is sort of exploration before regulation, if that makes sense. So there's a lot that is changing. So creative consciousness is coming in and sort of going, are we going in this direction? Are we going in this direction? Are we forming reality this way? And this is why it is a very experimental stage. People are experimenting with sexuality. As energies coming in, there is experimentation about, again, gender and what am I as creative consciousness. You are becoming a lot more mutable, meaning you're able to change a lot in one lifetime. So what feels confronting now, this idea that someone would shift gender, for example, in their lifetime, is just a way for you to begin to understand that mutability is the new game. You're not going to stay incarnated as one individual your whole lifetime who is experiencing the same life, the same survival partner, the same place that you live in. You are mutable beings. So this is where a lot of this exploration is going on at this time. So it's important to, again, be in allowance and allow energy to flow like a river. Allow this energy as it's coming in through this exploratory phase to kind of flow in different ways. There's no need to regulate this aspect of human consciousness, unless, of course.
Well, I thought we were going to hell. If we
yes. So
like
again,
the old scriptures are saying,
yes,
I don't really believe that, but it's a joke.
Yes,
you know that is it's a sin, and
it's a sin. So remember, a lot of old scripture has been written for the time that it is in.
Okay.
So a lot of that old scripture is also connected to survival. So a lot of the regulation that they're talking about in old scripture was to regulate populations within the survival framework.
Okay.
So when people talk about the concept of a sin, in the way that it's interpreted now, a sin that's going to make you go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when creative consciousness was exploring itself at that time, there might be more of an experience that if you explore it this way, it's probably not going to work out that way.
Okay, it's
and
futile.
It's going to create
population
it's
will
going
go.
to create more suffering or more struggle or this sort of thing. So the languaging of how things have ended up in the scripture is very distorted.
Yeah.
And then, of course, also used at different points in time to control different groups of the population as well. So the ways scriptures have been rewritten this really dives deeply into this idea that connection to God, connection to all consciousness, connection to unification with the divine, whatever you want to call it, is an extremely powerful experience. It's going to put somebody in a very powerful state of being and state of mind. So when you think about that union with God, with all consciousness, with the divine, this is what spirituality teaches. This is a very powerful concept. Now, when you have a powerful concept combined culturally with the survival system, which is hierarchical by nature, meaning there are people at the top and there are people at the bottom, and there is a struggle for power and control. Unfortunately, what happens is those who want to maintain control begin to change the languaging of the scripture, etc., so they are putting themselves in a place of power, in a place where people have to access divine consciousness through their gateway. And also maybe throw in a few things there that say that it is not safe for you to access consciousness in different ways. So let's bring that back to the concept of sexuality as a force of unification and creation. If you have a lot of people accessing this powerful physicalization force on their own, not needing permission from whatever organization wants to maintain power over the people, then the wealth of power that organization has begins to crumble if people have this power to manifest abundance physically themselves through their entire creative system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So a lot of the taboos around sexuality are cages around that creative power. And as you are moving from that survival framework, which is about the control of resources, you're actually trying to heal a lot of that oppression on sexuality and oppression around sexuality. Whenever you oppress a force, you tend to get a high shadow version of it. So this is why
Yeah.
you end up things like the storylines of rape, of sexual abuse, of trauma related to sexuality, because there's a cage around it so it doesn't flow. And it's a high power energy, which means a strong shadow comes with it when it's inhibited in this way. But most people who are still trying to control that paradigm will put out a lot of and even if you look at it's your own projection when you see these people who are trying to control sexuality, it's an own part of your system that's saying it's not safe
Yeah.
to be in the power of this energy at its full force, because you do have a strong history of the shadow version of sexuality. So
So it would be okay if everybody just had sex with everybody and it was just like, oh,
and that's what the mind will say it's going to be like, just a rampage of
yeah. Because that doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to just like,
and again, so this is one of these things where we say, dear ones, this is where you really want to surrender your concepts of how sexuality should or shouldn't be. Because during this exploratory phase, you still have plenty of mind. So some of the explorations that are going on still have some of those distortions of mind playing in the new version that's going on. This is where we say, dear ones, just surrender, heal your wounds around
yeah.
it, work through the energies, work through the judgments on all sides. When you are seeing someone or something that creates conflict within you around sexuality, that person isn't your enemy. It's a mirror for where energy is still in some kind of form of resistance around this powerful creative force, because you are ultimately here to be very powerful creators. But you don't know yet what an uninhibited sexual creative consciousness actually looks like, because you haven't really experienced it here
Okay.
very much. But there's plenty emerging right now for you to look at that shadow consciousness,
Yeah.
which is what you're trying to clear to get back to what we call sort of the clear glass, where
Okay.
consciousness is flowing through, unified by the heart. So this is again why we say, if you're heart centered, you're going to start to create your sexuality also in the way that is right for you. You
Yeah.
don't, and it's again, you're coming into an abundance matrix as well. So a lot of the struggle around sexuality is that you are in a lack limitation matrix, which means you don't have a lot of options.
Yeah.
And then you're all squabbling around this option or that option, or should it be this way or that way. When you go into an abundant creative matrix, there's plenty of what it is that your soul consciousness wants to explore. Right now, if you want to explore monogamy in a beautiful state of high level sexual energetic connection and exchange, that is the ideal that you're seeking through unification, through monogamy. Some people are seeking unification through everybody that I connect with is an aspect of the divine that I am exploring union with that way. And at different stages in your life, you may want to explore that as you are reincarnating without dying. Not one is right or wrong over the other, but you still don't know what sexuality is without the oppression of the survival consciousness controlling it through your religions, through your governments, through your storylines, through your history books, all of the wounds to sexuality, and through the storyline of sexuality that you see and continue to project in your news stories and this sort of stuff. It's showing you this cage that you're really wanting to clean up, harvest that energy, give it to your heart and surrender. And get ready for some amazing creative experiences in the way that you will be abundantly supplied to explore.
Well, I mean, I think that you kind of answered the question on, for society, for God, that people are transgender,
Indeed.
polyamorous, gay. But what about the experience of men who are more hypersexual than women
Indeed.
and they're married
Indeed.
and they go off and they cheat on their wives?
Indeed.
And the wives, the women, aren't as hypersexual.
Indeed.
And that's like, it's very
A big
common.
misalignment.
It's a big
It's a big
misalignment and almost
misalignment.
unfair.
Indeed, yes.
So, can we talk more about how these men are off fucking around? I'm mad now. Now I'm mad.
Well, and these are the wounds that we're talking about, the wounds of the imbalances. Now, remember, in a survival construct, and we've talked about and you are all well aware that in the old survival construct, the man is going out and spreading the seed widely to keep the tribe going. The woman is more oriented to protecting the child that they have.
Yeah.
So they don't have as strong attraction drivers to other people from a primal survival place. Now, this isn't to say that you've just got to accept this, because remember, you don't know what creative consciousness is without that quote unquote imbalance, or what now in your modern society feels like a great unfairness to the women who are, and of course it happens
Because the
in
men
different
would want us
religions.
to do that, if they found out we were off sleeping with other men, and they'd be so hurt. But it's like, oh well, the men just do that. And it's just like,
There's certainly been a lot of systems set up in the culture of reality as you know it that supports that initial survival programming, and then the men are playing out the story unconsciously of that. And we understand that that's very painful and
yeah,
betraying to the
yeah,
dear ones who
yeah,
feel a more
experience it.
devotional
Yeah.
energy. What is fair in this? But again, we say the new framework of sexuality isn't driven by that survival programming.
Okay.
So there's no need to fear that if you are a devotional person in union, that you are going to be run roughshod over. But what you may be carrying, dear one, is part of that wound, of that
Yeah.
imbalance, that cage of primal survival, bringing the discomfort to you because you feel the pain of that.
Yeah.
And this is where many dear ones are working on different areas of the wound of sexuality, and why it's such a hot topic. We talk about hot topics. What is a hot topic? It's a topic where there's a lot of charge and it hasn't been integrated yet. And there's a lot of oppositional attraction and manifestation. And we don't want to minimize anybody's experiences here. But because you are part of the shift crew, there is a lot of this misalignment going on in the relationship framework, because it's serving to stir up these old imprints that aren't part of the new framework. In the old framework, there may have been less pain about that experience because it wasn't transitional. Does that make sense? There may have been clearer alignments where people who were devotional in that way got together, lived long lives together. But you're also going through big changes of what is a lifetime now. What can you anticipate or expect from a lifetime together? Well, you might have 5 lifetimes in a lifetime right now.
Five husbands.
Could be.
That's
Or 5 new alignments in
Yeah.
the relationship that you have as you
Okay.
grow and explore together. But the more you have dissolved your egoic framework, the more you have a greater capacity to align with someone. And particularly if both people are working in dissolving their restrictive imprinting and programming, there's a good chance you could keep growing together through your 5 incarnations in this lifetime. Just explore it in different places and different experiences. But
How likely are people now in this new fifth dimension be able to, well, shoot, I mean, lifetime could be in like there's lifetimes are changing now where
Yes, lifespan
a
is
lifespan
changing.
might not even ever end until you decide it was to end.
Yes.
And so is it likely that the souls will get together for 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, and then switch and then switch?
Well, you're already seeing that it's changing.
Yeah.
So this is where we say sort of don't resist the resistance. So you have an old paradigm where you were programmed to believe success as a human being was uh, staying married forever.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing, but it isn't a marker of success in the relationship experience anymore, because it's understanding that your creative consciousnesses that are shifting.
It's just as hard for kids.
It can be hard for kids. The less hard it is for everybody to understand mutability, it's going to help with that, because
Okay.
it's the conflict around it that also starts to
Yeah.
make it hard for kids. This is why we say if you're heart-centered, the heart has a way of balancing these things out, and you do see a lot more new paradigm of how parents are co-parenting now beyond the relationship. It's also not great for kids to be raised in a family where everyone's unhappy, because the
Yes.
frequency is
Disruptive.
discomfort and
Yeah.
disruptive itself. So just understanding yourself as shifting energies is very helpful. We would say most of the things that you're feeling challenged about now, you're feeling challenged about the general concept of change
Yeah.
that destabilizes that
Exactly.
singular egoic identity.
I.e., like a breakup is very hard physically, mentally, emotionally,
Yes, biologically
biologically.
too.
So
Yes.
if you could have just like helped me through that.
Yes,
Like,
delete
oh, you
files
know what?
biologically.
You know,
Yes.
actually, you know, you're right. I think we were just growing apart. Let's just like, yeah.
Yes. And as you do have more biological rewrites, because remember, what makes a breakup really hard a lot of the times is that you have formed a biological
Yeah.
and hormonal bond
Yeah.
on top of, "Oh, well, I just like this person. I like this person's being in company." And that hormonal biological bond is very strong. It's meant to be strong because it was about survival, and it's meant to
Oh.
override
Yeah.
your conscious thinking.
Yeah.
Because if back in the caves, if you bred to strong ooga booga, strong primal masculine energy, your biology is driving you to stay around or near that man that's going to provide,
protect you and
to
provide for
protect
you.
and provide. So what hurts a lot is when that survival system is short circuiting.
You might die without that man.
Because you feel like you're going to die without that person. Wouldn't you love to have relationship experiences that are more in a full-bodied alignment?
Yes.
That you're really drawing each other
Yes.
from an aligned state of consciousness that is not just I'm going to die without this person. A lot of that programming that, again,
you're just addicted to them and not even healthful in a healthy, fun relationship.
Biologically
Can
you're
be.
attached.
Yeah.
Yes, you can be addicted to them. There's a lot that's going on hormonally. So when we come in and do the delete files and help to rewrite some of these biological templates, it is to ease up that pain around change.
Yeah.
And again, we want to reaffirm that if two creative consciousnesses are happy swimming in the ocean next to each other for 10, 20, 50, 100 years,
Cute.
so be it.
Cute.
Yes. If two consciousnesses are happy to weave in and out and explore and come back and bring from an exploration over here into here and create a new creative experience together, that can also be a thing.
Yeah.
It's the sense of loss and betrayal and loss of trust that doesn't always allow for the ocean to remerge without a sense of trauma from the past, for example. How do you trust? Well, everything that you're going through right now, dear ones, is to break down those systems that make you not trust yourself as an infinite and powerful being, far beyond needing someone specifically to create your survival.
Yeah.
You can manifest them in your life to play a character for a while, but when you're always in remembrance and the new imprint of biological knowingness that you're all good, now you are free to explore whatever you want to explore, whether it's
Yeah.
within a relationship with many or beyond. But as we
Is there
say,
consequences to sleeping with more than one person or being out and, maybe like, for example, a prostitute? Is there consequences to that?
so we would say, because consequences always has a slightly punitive feeling about it, we would say energy blending with energy is always going to have an impact in some way. So consequences you may experience as sort of when you merge energies, so that you carry a memory when you
Forever?
merge energies. No memory is forever
Okay.
because energy is always mutable
Okay.
at some level, but you may have a denser intake
Oh,
from where you are interacting with, or a denser activation from where you are
because you were,
reacting,
what do you call it?
unifying.
Unifying with an
You're
energy that
merging
may not be
consciousness.
as high vibe as you, or may give you some imprints that you don't really want.
Or also that you had a part of you that was vibrating at that level, and it's whatever the level is, and
Yeah.
it's bringing it into consciousness as well, that it is there. Now, a lot of the times when you ignore your system, you experience consequences, meaning that if you don't listen to your own system, if you ignore it, if you suppress it yourself, if you're not in tune, and as we are talking about really becoming in tune with the heart blueprint, your knowingness of what is always aligning in your favor is probably, if you do have an experience like that, it may be to bring you
Bring
into a
it.
higher state of consciousness through
Some
allowing
shadow work.
unconscious energy to
Yeah.
emerge. Yes. But if you've done a lot of that, then it's about listening to the stillness of the knowingness within your heart, rather being driven by old impulsive programs, which could be
Yeah.
about survival.
Yeah.
It could be about having watched a whole bunch of videos that were imprinted upon you about what is beauty, what is hot, what is sexuality, what is union, and then exploring that and discovering that that really isn't in alignment with your broader consciousness, and there's an experimentation there to discover that. That if you keep pushing in directions that aren't listening, sometimes when your soul wants to get you back on track, then you might experience that as some kind of consequence. Usually when you don't listen, the pressure starts to build up in some way or other to get you course corrected back into alignment with your own heart blueprint.
How fluid are most people without the programs? Men, women.
Again, you are all unique imprints when you incarnate. So we can't say to you that everybody is 80% fluid.
Yeah.
What you're really seeking is better alignments.
Okay.
So if you want to align with 100 people, you only need 100 people who are into the same alignment with you. If you want to align with one person, you only need that one person to be in alignment with you. But what you're experiencing right now is that everybody is operating with a blend of their self-alignment and this conditioning and programming cage. So most people can't even feel into their own alignments, let alone feel into an alignment that is matchy-matchy with somebody else.
Well, I'm talking about being like gay, lesbian. Like, how fluid are like men? Are they a lot more fluid than they'd like to admit because the programming? And does that create a lot of trauma in men? Because, and women are fluid. Well, women are normally just fluid because every woman's beautiful. But like, men, I wonder if that creates more problems in our society? Because
This is a very good question. So we want to take a moment with this to deliver it to the channel. One moment, please. All right. So, sexuality, again, coming back to that, it is a very big part of your physical creation act. And your physical creation act is not limited to children, obviously, by any stretch of the consciousness imagination. So
it's not limited to what?
it's not limited to just having children.
Oh,
Sexuality is a
just having
creative
children.
force.
Okay, sorry.
Yes. All right. So when you're talking about what is fluidity? Fluidity is you're really just talking about attraction. Why are there points of
Sexual
attraction?
attraction.
Sexual attraction. All right. So a lot of times people don't understand general energetic attraction, and they don't understand this idea of coming into unification with other aspects of self through communion.
Okay.
All right. So, what happens a lot of the times when people feel attraction for someone, most of the programming says, I feel an attraction for someone. It's a sexual attraction. All right. So when you're not very developed in opening up, awareness at all the levels that you may actually be attracted from, you just feel a strong energetic pull. People who haven't opened up and worked with their systems very well feel it like sexual attraction. But sexual attraction, again, it's a specific creative form. All right. So it's going to help bring things into manifestation. And people who are wanting to unify with their power to create could be attracted sexually to people who embody powerful manifestation in some way. So this is why it gets confusing, because men can be attracted to men who are embodying things that they haven't unified within themselves. That's really what you're seeing as fluidity in some levels. That might make things confusing. Am I straight? Am I gay? Am I bi? I'm attracted to this. I'm attracted to that. What is right within my paradigm? Again, the more you actually become clear in your own system and can read where the levels of attraction are actually happening, you won't get these confused distortions that sort of bring a lot of misalignment, fear, and pain to what is a beautiful creative force that you're here to explore. So we know that a lot of the times when people are asking about sexuality, it's often coming from that there is some deep pain there on some level, an ancestral memory, a past life memory, a collective memory that there's been a lot of suffering in the arena of sexuality because of the cage that it's been held in, creating strong shadows in this experience.
Okay.
So why does somebody feel afraid about trans people? Why does somebody feel afraid about bisexual people? Why do people feel afraid that their partner may be attracted to different people, or that they are attracted to different people? What's wrong with me? Why am I suddenly now feeling this about this? It's because there isn't enough sensitivity to the levels of attraction that are going on. A lot of the times when people are seeking to, for example, just unify with their own masculine, internalized masculine energy, if you didn't have good role models in your parents for positive internal masculine energy, a positive internal feminine energy, you may feel a strong attraction to someone of the same or opposite gender. A lot of the, going back to what you're asking about, Why is the masculine seeming to be seeking so much feminine energy in different forms outside of the sacred union of a marriage or this sort of thing? It's because they're so wounded in their own relationship to their own feminine energy. They keep projecting this glory out there onto these external forces that aren't within the union that they already have, because they're seeking to unify with that aspect of themselves. They haven't done the work where they are in touch with their receptive creative energy, so they are seeking receptacles basically of their consciousness. So this is another thing that influences that confusion. But again, the more you unify with your creative force from the feminine, your creative force from the masculine, you're going to get stronger mirrors coming into your life that are there. But there is a lot of healing in the collective energy that's going on right now, which is why a lot of people are not doing well in their partnerships, ending partnerships, avoiding partnerships, and being on their own path of self-integration before a genuine, true alignment match can happen, either in the relationship that they have already, but from the quantum field reflecting this.
There's a lot to unpack there.
There's a lot to unpack, and there, as we said, because
there's a question that I was thinking about. You say that well, it depends if they have some mother wound or father wound that can make them want to be gay or be more straight and search for more, but.
Some people are just incarnating gay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, some people are incarnating trans. Some people are incarnating straight.
Why would you want to incarnate gay and incarnate trans when you're like a minority that people judge you? Like, why would you want to have that incarnation?
Because there is great joy in that incarnation when it's allowed to be free and express itself. The issue isn't the incarnation.
Why would trans be joyful when you want so badly to have a girl body, but you were born with a boy body?
Because it's a journey of unification. And there is always in that unpacking of restriction a joy that comes from unification. So it's a hard time for people who are exploring that creativity when there's a lot of people who feel threatened by it and are judging it and creating more oppression around it. But as far as consciousness is concerned, this is a creative choice. It's as magnificent as someone incarnating straight, bi, gay, trans. It doesn't matter to consciousness. You're all of love. You're all creative experiences.
Well, here's a good question for you. Why would somebody naturally be attracted to little children? I wouldn't want to incarnate. Sometimes I feel bad for them because I'm not attracted to kids like
Indeed,
that.
Yes.
Why would you want to incarnate to then hurt little children because
Indeed,
that is your thing?
Yes. And so these are often the questions that arise and the fears that arise or the curiosities that arise when it feels like the structures of normalcy are starting to break down. And we want to be very careful when we discuss this topic because it is it's more than sexuality. That's not really about, there's a lot going on in that incarnation, which is also about power, loss of power, detachment from their own inner child a lot of the times. So somebody who is strongly attracted to children, again, remember when we were talking about a lot of the times when you feel a strong attraction, but you are not sophisticated in your understanding of your own multidimensionality in terms of attraction, meaning you could purely be attracted just from creativity. When you see a band, a lot of the times, for example, a band is attracted to come together, but the music is the creative field that they're playing in. But a lot of the times, what also happens, again, with unsophisticated mechanism is that it's experienced as sexuality. It's the desire to merge, to create.
So you want to commune with that energy.
They're wanting to commune with child consciousness, which they themselves may have been disconnected from in some way through their own trauma or whatever. But because it's often interpreted through an unhealed system, it goes more into a sexual driver.
Yeah.
So, and again, we want to be very careful about how we talk about these subjects, because from broader perspective, all creation is allowed to play out. It's the theater of creativity.
Including pedophilia, rape, murder.
Because you have them in your movies and your TV shows.
You guys enjoying that? Then enjoy the whole real story, baby.
Well, you are
That's what you get.
You are in a creative construct. You are in a very active theater. You're in a multi-dimensional theater here, playing these things out. It's
really hard for human beings to unpack that. Nobody wants to be raped. It causes so much trauma for the rest of your life. And it's like, oh, was that a fun show for you? You know?
And this is a particularly challenging time because you're also doing a lot of healing through this. So what we would say is why these storylines seem to be very inflamed right now. Lots of awareness of it, lots of distortion, projection about it, but lots of news about it. And remember we've talked about before, you are purifying energetic templates that go back to that extreme survival experience of actually coming into becoming human in a sense. So we've talked about this in another episode, that when consciousness was building itself as human form, it was savage compared to how you know reality now. It was a very savage experience, and the competitive drive to survive meant there wasn't a lot of compassion or care about other.
It was just to stay alive.
Super desperate just to stay alive. And the secondary quality of the feminine coming in and unifying and being more community building really could only exist after that initial wave of the competitive survival consciousness got the human life form surviving its inception in a sense. Just in the same way when a baby is born, it's just a primal energy trying to survive. So there's cellular memory of savageness in our bodies that now are coming up. That's part of that biological memory, that biological belief structure.
It's quite literally in our
it's in your human
cellular
DNA.
memory that is still running. It's still peeking its ugly shadow head. And now we're starting to go, okay, we don't want this in our creative exploration anymore, going into the fifth dimension. Let's learn how to heal it. Well, why don't we start winding down here and start teaching us how do we heal some of these unwanted sexual desires, or when we see rape and stuff, how are we going to take this out of our society and out of our personal lives?
So we've talked a lot about the planetary template purification. The idea why you're seeing so much of this is because it's an opportunity to harvest the energy from those creative acts. As you think about going into a new paradigm, you need energy to create the new paradigm. So you're being shown the best places to harvest the energy from are these more challenging and suffering-based storylines. You don't want to pull the energy from the bunnies in the field. You want to pull it from these painful stories, which is why it's really flared up for people and why people have these important questions. Why is this even happening as an incarnation? So really, again, bringing back the idea, if you feel strongly about this, the reality is the amount of consciousness that's actually engaging in that storyline is much lower than you think. But if in your story you're seeing a lot of it, because there's a lot of talk about it in news, social media.
All the politicians are running these sexual, rings, and
there's lots of projection.
Is that a projection? Is that
well? What we would say, bring it back to you. Are you seeing a lot of it If it is, then
yeah.
maybe your role is to help harvest the energy from that paradigm and do the purifications on it to
Yeah.
put energy into the new consciousness framework. Because outside of incarnation, and this again can be challenging to accept, that when people come in to play those roles before birth, there is an agreement on the nature and the flavor, a self agreement on the nature and the flavor of the reality that you will experience. So nothing is imposed upon
Yeah.
you from the broader perspective. From the little me perspective, certainly it can totally be and feel and
Yeah.
experienced as an abusive situation. So we want to be clear that we understand that. If this has a lot of charge for you, this is where we encourage you to really pull the energy from your matrix, where you're observing it, where you're feeling it in your body. Run it through that infinity 8 from the heart center, going up around through the thymus, harvesting energy.
Circle 8 or infinity 8.
Yes, so it's sort
Right.
of like this. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're pulling energy into your human heart center that's observing this and purifying it through the all consciousness heart center, which helps for you to access a broader level of consciousness that can help you purify planetary templates like this. And then
And when you say planetary templates, that's basically
collective
the human
history, collective
templates.
memory, collective memory.
Okay.
Yes, the planetary template of rape. Why would a child incarnate and have such a harsh experience, perhaps to be molested? Or they may have incarnated with that template, and their experience is part of the processing out of that energy from the human collective right now. And
I need to go to like these AA and NA meetings and tell all these people that have been like molested as kids and messed them up and addictions. Like, hey, by the way, I know you weren't born knowing this, but
yes.
maybe you should watch this episode and understand how you can clear this energy. We're just not there as a society. There's so many people suffering from this. Are they unconsciously clearing this energy? But just
there can be, yes, there can be a lot of unconscious resolution.
Okay.
And some people talk about this idea of karma. Well, if perhaps they were an abuser in a past life, now they are reconciling that. They're on the quote unquote other end of the puppetry, and sort of leveling something out there, bringing in a sense of reconciliation. Remember that the process of healing trauma is a process of bringing reconciliation to the energy, neutralizing out. So those dear ones who incarnate and have difficult experiences, many of them get onto the healing path because the pain may be too much to just pretend it's not there. That process of healing is a neutralizing out of this memory, which we call it memory, energy that is resonating in those frequencies and vibration, clearing it, healing it, reducing it, and putting more energy back into the field of creativity to create the new construct. If you feel charged, where is sexuality going? What's going on? Everybody's doing this or doing that. I don't know if I align with that. Get out of your minds, dear ones. Again, as a collective, you don't understand sexuality as a creative construct without this heavy template, which creates the deep shadow stuff that you're talking about, the distortions, the heavily dense suffering-based storylines. So this is why we say surrender. Give all that energy to your heart, whatever area that you feel. Some people are in relationships where they love but they're very bored sexually. They don't feel that part of themselves alive. That's another form of suffering. If your creativity is not online through all aspects of yourself. So again, this is where we say surrender humanity, because you don't really know what you don't know how to create what you don't know how to create, but the heart does know how to create, and you are moving into a playing field that's not suffering based, dear ones.
And they're not telling us what the future is like, because what ends up happening is that we're still going to
start to try and control it with
our minds. So that's why it's just like, just surrender, go into your heart center. When you have these feelings and emotions come up, run it through your heart center, be with the emotion, feel it in your body. Use the
love and acceptance, dissolve the maze of the mind that's creating judgment and discomfort. We would basically always say, if you're really uncomfortable with how you see someone else expressing themselves, it's probably a mirror for a piece of your own energy. And again, remember, you coming into unification is with the all consciousness is that all of these things exist in all consciousness. You don't become one with God, all consciousness, if you are judging aspects of this creation. So even if you're struggling to understand these rapists or abusers or whatever, if you can understand energy a little bit better, you can move out of
The judgment, just love and
that
accept
helps,
it all,
yes,
to move it all.
because you are part of this all consciousness. You may not be the rapist in this life, but certainly you have been in some aspect of creative experience. If you've been human consciousness a lot, you have played all these parts.
Jeez.
So if you want to come back into unification, call back to you.
I love and accept the part. When
Love
you
and
see
accept-
rape, I love and accept the part of me
that is a rapist. Yes,
Even though you're not
you're not right
you're
now,
a rapist,
and your little me may
but
still have
there's a
judgments.
cellular memory in your body from some lineage way
back, and also in your creative experience. If that's a hot topic for you, you've probably played in those storylines a lot, and it's a hot topic because you're trying to get the energy that you yourself have dispersed in all of these storylines, which may not have been resolved or unified. You're trying to bring all that back into union so that energy can be available to create something new. So it's not about that this is a good thing or this is a bad thing. It's the right thing. It's the wrong thing. What we keep saying to you is it's energy in a form. Don't hate the energy. You can dislike the form and want to create, take that energy. But if you hate it and you resist it, it actually keeps it frozen like that. If you want the world to be free of pedophilia and rape, don't resist the energy that's in those storylines. Bring it back in, run it through your heart, and turn it into something new. This is the practice of alchemy. Lead into gold. You're not
into gold.
You're not trying to create the new reality, pulling energy from the things that you already like. So
I'm gonna end it here because I want one more question. Why are most women like more on the fluidity part? And it's like, I feel like a lot of my friends, it's like they're very common.
We would say it's more allowed, so it's easier to express.
Okay.
But we would also say that women by nature are connective. So they're drawn to more aspects of consciousness. They're drawn to this. They're drawn to they're drawn to coming into their higher, more full array of their own feminine consciousness. So they don't have so much internalized restriction or judgment around that. They're just vibing in on the beauty or on the creativity or this or that. And kissing is a way of merging. Cuddling is a way of merging. Sexuality is a way of merging. But what's interesting about that, when you have same-sex attraction, it's not going to produce a child. So it's really about creativity a lot of the time, in a purest level of creativity, just bringing things into manifestation. So it's very powerful in that regards.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, that was a fun episode. I learned a lot.
Indeed. Good. And if you could just all soften and relax, dear ones, into your hearts. It's a hot topic. There's lots of energy. There's been a lot of trauma in this subject, which is why people want to control it more. They're afraid of it. But don't be afraid of your power to manifest, which is really what the fear around sexuality is. Your power to manifest and become powerful beings, not controlled.
Beyond the sex.
It's beyond the sex, yes.
Just the energy that drives the sexual.
Drives it. It's the same energy.
Same energy.
And this is why a lot of the times you'll find even people who are going to start a business together or bring something together, there's a force of attraction there because they're going to build something together. But the body reads it, especially if it's opposite sex, if you're heterosexual and there's some physical, nice physical qualities, it's going to read it as sexuality. The biology is going to read it as sexuality. But it's unification of creativity to bring something into physical manifestation. And for those of you who are in relationships where you feel your sexuality is not active, it may be that the partnership itself has lost some of that. We're building something together. We're creating something together. So other ways, strangely, that could reignite your sexuality within a relationship would be for both of you to get fired up about manifesting in some way a new level of something physical will actually bring those parts of your creative system more online.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Grounding into the body. There's a lot of people who are carrying wounds. What has played out as wounds because of the hybrid chakra system as well. So there's a lot of miswiring that's going on, which is why another reason why people can struggle in these areas. So it's all good, dear ones. Embodiment, heart centering, earth grounding, being open to be the powerful creator that you are and sharing that experience with others. You will get more attuned about how you're really what you're really going to align and
really
create
want to have
with.
sex with this person? Or I do really want to unify with it
Unify with their energy because
Yeah.
they're holding a balance of something that together you're going to bring something new into the world. But people feel threatened. Think about the heart creating an abundant creative space. You only feel threatened because of the idea of losing. When there's
Correct.
abundance, you can't lose because supply is always coming. Love is infinite and eternal.
Okay.
If you feel like if you lose that partner, you're losing love, you're losing your connection to the divine. That's the illusion to transcend.
Wow.
And enjoy magnificent alignment that the heart is creating for you.
I will.
Indeed. Yes, dear one. We have no doubts about it. We adore you all so very much until we're meeting in this way or some other way. We love you very much. And for now, we'll say goodbye, dear ones. Goodbye. Bring it on. I feel that chakra, that sacral energy moving right now.
Wow.
When we do a transition like that, there's the concepts, but there is those activating codes.
Ooh, you got activated, peeps. I don't know what part you got activated, but we all got activated.
Definitely the stuff about the bringing in the new chakra systems is really big. And we just happen to have in the Activation Gateway a lot of recordings about getting the 5D chakra system.
Okay, cool. I gotta listen
online.
to this.
Yeah, because they explain in one of it that it's just like it's kind of like if you take a hairdryer from America to the US, you
can't plug it in.
to Europe.
Yeah.
Even with an adapter, it might work kind of okay, but it's not the right system for it to operate properly. So there's a lot of like miswiring and firing, especially if you have an adaptive system. So once you get your chakra system more dialed in for the energy grid that you're on, so if you're going to be 5D, you want a 5D chakra system to really experience it creating all of the potentiality of the 5D system.
Okay, wow. Well, thank you so much. That was
Activation
a good one.
Gateway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Well, if you want to find more of Georgia Jean and the Circle of Light, it's circleofelution.com. She's on Instagram, Circle of Evolution.
Yep.
And if you want to come hang out with us in the studio and come and interview the Circle of Light yourself, there's a link below. Or you can go to my website, Spread Your Third Eye, and you can click to apply. So we just might be seeing you in the studio next.
That's right. And buy my girl Mia coffee here. If you got a good nugget, if you got a nugget out of this that's helped you have a little breakthrough, maybe this episode, maybe another episode.
And share with your friends and subscribe. And we love you guys. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye. I will